What is going on, everybody? Bopalopagus here at Camp Sekani Disc Golf Course in Spokane, Washington, and we're going to be playing an 18-hole scoring round today with special guest Mitchell. Everybody say welcome, Mitch. And starting off on hole 1, 315 feet straight up the hill. And we're going to go with our Avenger SS today. Try to go up around the left bushes there and flex it back to the right. And it's a decent shot. Came out a little bit early, a little bit right of where I wanted, but checks up nicely, rolls up a little bit up the hill towards the basket, so we should have a look. And Mitchell's showing off his new forehand. He's warming up. We'll get into it. And off our drive, leave ourselves about 35 feet, 40 feet. And we're going to try to pitch it up. Make sure we don't hit a tree or anything. Make sure we at least get an easy par to start the round. And we do leave it a little bit short, about 8 feet here. But have a tap in par to start the round. Not bad. And we're on to hole 2 now, 226 foot par 3, and we're gonna forehand our fireball here. Try to go up that left gap and put it on a decent amount of anhyzer and just let it fight back. Super overstable disc, so it shouldn't have any problem getting back to the basket. And we absolutely pier this one, and we even get a little bit of a skip.
Nice
Puts
shot.
us right under the basket, and that's a pretty good shot. Pretty good feeling to start the day. Even, and then a birdie.
What, you're not going forehand now?
And I'm making fun of Mitchell here. He's been talking all about his forehand, and then second hole, perfect forehand hole, and he goes to the backhand. But he'll warm it up, and he'll get it later. Tap in our bird here. And 1 down through 2, pretty good start. And we're on to hole 3 now, 291 foot par 3 up the hill. And we're going forehand destroyer now. A little bit of extra distance and a little bit of extra flex. And we're going to throw pretty much the same shot, but make sure that we give it enough height to fight back at the end. And this is another one that's pretty much perfect. Even get a little kick off the rock there right next to the basket and puts us right under the basket. Have another tap in par, and Mitchell goes with the accidental roller on the forehand. Doesn't quite get the distance, but we'll start 2 down through 3, so pretty perfect start so far. And hole 4 is 360 feet, par 3 down the hill, and we're just going to try to ride the forehand. We're going to go a little bit of a flex, try to get it, just make sure we get through the gap, and we're going with our A3 here. And we put on a little bit too much anhyzer, but we do hit the gap, and so we should be pretty well down there, but we might not have a look at the basket. Depends on where we land. And Mitchell hits the gap as well, gets a little bit of a skip, even misses the bushes, gets pretty far down there. And we're in a bit of an awkward spot here. We don't really have a step out because of the bush behind our disc, and we don't really have a forehand because of the tree to the left of our disc. So we're going to try to straddle the tree here, see if we can get any kind of forehand. And I think I can get a little flick forehand with the Toro. So we're going to try that, see if we can get it up and high enough and let it crash back in. It's a little bit hard to see, but it's just like a foot over the basket. Almost threw it in. You can see we landed right there. Maybe about a foot high, foot short maybe. But really good shot. Still 2 down through 4, so still a really good start. And we're on to hole 5 now, 332 foot par 3. And there is the Mando to the left of the basket there. So we're going forehand Toro again. Try to make sure that we hit that Mando and hopefully get ourselves close to the basket. And we roll our wrist a little bit, doesn't flex out fast enough, and we missed the Mando by like 15 feet. Pretty unfortunate, but drop zone isn't horrible, so we should be able to at worst save bogey. And Mitchell throws a little bit of a better forehand, gets rid of some of the wobble, but not what he was looking for. Takes it out on the hat. And we're putting from about 60 feet here. Throw up a little jumper, and it's about 10 feet deep, which is good that I was able to putt that far, but we have ourselves a bit of a tester here, and I do not have a good history with this basket, especially on this side. I don't know what it is. And that's going to continue here, just not even close. Got about a 12-footer and airball it like 4 feet to the right, so not great. Back to even after the double bogey, but still even through 5 is not the worst. So we're going to keep going, see if we can get a birdie here. Going with the A4 and 269 feet, just trying to make sure that you get down the gap, and it's pretty good. Maybe just a few degrees too much hyzer on that one, but pretty perfect. Hit the gap, got plenty down there, so pretty good shot there. And Mitch hits the gap as well, a little bit low but slides up. And I'm putting for birdie here. Mitch will be back there putting for par. And happy to put that one in with a little bit of an awkward stance after the last hole. And Mitchell pulls his putt and then doesn't take his time there, sends it over the top, and then throws in a brick to save triple. Not great, but he's not keeping score. He's just playing for fun, so it's all good. And we're on to hole 7 now, 378 feet, par 3, going forehand destroyer. Does play uphill as well, but that was a pretty perfect shot. Made sure to get the height on that up the left gap, and it flexed out in time to miss those trees on the left side. So we should be down there with about 100 feet left for the birdie if we can make it. And this green is a little bit awkward as well because it slants down to the right, so I want to go forehand, but those trees are kind of in the way. Would set up much nicer for a backhand, but leave it a little bit left, kick left 2. Pretty unfortunate there. Mitch tries to go with a turbo putt from about 35, doesn't quite get it there, unfortunately. But we're just going to do a little sky ante pitch up with the putter. Let it crash back down. And we are at least able to make a pretty good layup there. Mitch gets the maybe a bit of a push putt, not even a turbo putt. I go with the nitro. And we're back to even through 7. Not bad. Would have liked to keep those birdies that we've gotten so far, but not mad at even through 7. And we're on to hole 8 now, 437-foot par 4. And this one is a little bit easier than the par 3 position. It's pushed back maybe about 50 feet up the hill. But this drive is pulled a little bit to the right side, and it almost got lucky, got clean, but it caught like one of the last trees it had to beat and got dropped down by a branch. So got decent distance, should have a look up to the basket, but not as easy as it could have been. Mitch pulls his as well, but got down there, got clean. And I'm about 200 feet out. I'm going to go with my fireball and just try to throw it, hang it way left, and it slip a little bit. Ends up high and right of where I wanted it. Caught a branch, got shot down. Left with about 100 feet in here. And we're just going to try to do a little pitch up with our putter and see if we can leave it close. The green is pretty fast. It's pretty downhill, so you want to leave it a little bit short here. And I am able to do that and even leave it in the grass, so it gets caught. And we have a tap in for par, so it's still even through 8, which after that drive and upshot, not mad about it all. And we're on to hole 9 now, 271-foot par 3. And we're going to try to go a little flip up flex with our A4. and it just comes out a little bit early and low, kicks right off the tree, and that's not a great shot. Didn't get very much distance at all. And we do have a hyzer backhand look, but it's a little bit scary. The green does skip and then go downhill, so not a spot you particularly want to be in.
That's a pretty good shot.
Mitch has a little bit of a nicer shot, gets a little bit further than I did. But we're going to go with our A3 here, and I want to go with the forehand, but I just don't trust it. It's a really tight shot, tight gap that I'm aiming for with the forehand. So I'm just going to try to go with the backhand and just commit to the shot. Don't go too far, put it on enough hyzer that it crashes in, and the soft A3 should hopefully sit down if we do it right. But it slips out a little bit early, kicks a tree, and we're left with about 40 feet in here, maybe a little bit further, but still have a look for par here, so we're gonna try to give it a run. And it looked pretty good. Putted just a little bit too high, caught a branch, took a little bit of speed off. Mitch wanted me to leave that one in there, so see his tap in, and I tap in for bogey on 9. So we're 1 over through the front 9, which is really not bad. Usually my front 9 is worse than my back 9, so being 1 over through the front 9, I'm not mad about at all. And my record is 4 over, so 3 over would be pretty elite. Hole 10, 317 feet, going with the flip up A4 again, but we pull it this time. Just rolled the wrist a little bit, and it's not super torque resistant, so it flips over, gets a kick left as well. But we got pretty far down there, didn't hit anything early. And Mitch goes with the accidental roller again, almost gets back to the fairway, but a little bit awkward here too with the bushes right in front of us and the little tree. But we're going to go a little flick forehand with the Toro, try to leave it short and skip into the rocks to kill it. And we do that, but it rolls. I don't even know how that happened. I thought it was a great shot, but it rolls probably about 60, 70 feet away, so pretty unfortunate. Thought it was a good shot, but you can see we're pretty far away there on the left side of your screen. Gonna try to give it an elevator putt so that if we are able to give it a run, we can at least put it close, and if we miss, then we should at least have a tap in, but we leave it way short, way right. Have about a 15 footer on an elevated basket, but we are able to put it in. Still take the bogey, 2 over through 10. Would have liked to have a little bit of a better upshot there, a little bit of better luck with the upshot, I should say. But we're on to hole 11, 288 foot par 3, going with the fireball again, trying to go up this right gap and have it crash back in. And it comes out a little bit early left, but it does get down there. It doesn't hit anything, luckily, so we should have a decent look at it. Mitch going with another little push putt from about 25. Doesn't get it there. He'll get it down. I'm also left with about 25, maybe 30 feet out here, and I have to straddle out because of this bush. And it's right on line, but a little bit too much hyzer. Hits the cage, rolls away, still rolling, still rolling, still rolling. Just stopped rolling. Rolled for forever. Luckily, it kind of rolled in a bit of an S, so it didn't roll straight away, but rolled up to the left of those trees behind the basket and then came back onto the road. Left with about 45 feet, a little bit uphill too. And we just leave it a few feet short. Right on line again, but we're going to be tapping in another bogey to be 3 over through 11 after the pretty perfect front 9. So unfortunate, couple of blunders that we could have made up for, but on to hole 12, 324 foot par 3, straight uphill, going with our destroyer, and we just absolutely grip lock it. We hit our shoulder on the pull through and just yanked it straight right. It was a really powerful shot. I got about pin high on this shot, so I'm not mad at that, but would have liked to keep it a little bit more online. Mitch is going with a forehand here up the hill. And it's a wobbler, but it got up there. Not a bad shot. He's warming up. And we're going to try to pitch up with our A4 here and just see if we can put it close. And I rolled my wrist again, left it about 50 feet left, so not super close. But we do have a putt wide open, luckily, but a little bit further than I would have liked. Definitely a lot further than I would have liked. Up the hill, wobble it out of the hand, leave it short again. And we're going to be tapping in another bogey to be 4 over through 12. Not what we were looking for, but still on pace. There are plenty of birdies to be had in these last few holes, so not out of it by any means. On to hole 13 though, 228 feet. This is a decent opportunity. Gonna try to flex it through the middle again, and we leave it a little bit right and low. And we catch those little flowers that you can see all the way up the right side of the fairway, and it just kills us. Leave ourselves about 100, maybe even more feet short. And Mitch goes with another accidental roller. He's been on a heater with those today. Gets to a decent spot though. And I'm left with about 100 feet out, maybe a little bit further. So we're going to go with our range here and just try to slide it up. And it's super steep behind the basket, and we get a little bit of a wind lift with the one glide disc. And we just glide all the way down the hill, probably 70, 80 feet past, and we absolutely crushed it. A little bit higher than I would have liked to, and then we got the wind lift as well. So pretty unfortunate there. Tapping in another bogey on 13 to go 5 over. And we're on to 14 now, 303 foot par 3. Straight down the hill to the right a little bit, but you just want to make sure that you get some out there flat and let it crash back into the right. Going with my A3 here again. And it turned a little bit, but it gets around that tree and it checks up a little bit in front of the basket, but we should have about a 30 footer for birdie. And Mitch blocks his own shot, but his shot is pretty nice. You can just see it on the right side, just over the rock there. And he's pretty much parked. Nice he's shot. About 10 feet away from the basket, just behind that tree there. We'll see his putt for birdie. Barely gets it in there, just over the rim, but he does. Cashes in his birdie, and we're going to try to do the same. We're probably actually a little bit further, maybe 40, 45 feet out. But we are going to give it a run. And it's just high, putting a little bit uphill. Thought it was a good putt, right on line again, but just high. Skips off the top of the basket and goes to about 20 feet. Awkward footing inside that bush. And we just leave that one left. And we tap in another bogey for 6 bogeys in a row. Super unfortunate. And we're now 6 over through 14. And on to hole 15, Mitch took the box from us there, so he's going to be up first. And he just leaves it a little bit low, doesn't quite get over the hill, but we're going to be going forehand destroyer, make sure that doesn't happen, and just try to leave it high, flex it, let it crash back to the right. And we hit the gap, but we put a little bit too much anhyzer on it, so it kind of dives a little bit. But it looks like it got lucky and glided past all the little trees and shrubs and everything on that little hillside. Mitch puts it in from about 50 feet out up the hill a ton. Unfortunately, I think that one was for bogey, so great putt, but I am not able to do the same. About circle's edge up the hill. But we do nitro in the par to stay 6 over. And we have 3 holes left to play. And we're trying to get down to 3 under. Get the new PR. But it's going to be a tough ask. But it is doable. Going with the trail here, 285 feet. And I laced this one. I thought that was perfect. We just turn it a little bit too much, catch the tree, kick left, and we're left with about 40 feet out. Could be worse. Definitely still a good drive, but I think that one would have been under the basket if it got clean. But we do still have a look here, a little bit awkward up the hill, and just a super awkward stance sliding down, as you can see there. But we're going to try to give it a run. And we just pull it. Just too awkward. Didn't adjust how I needed to. But we did stay close to the basket, right about where Mitch is putting from. He goes with a nitro on an elevated basket, does not cash it. And I'm looking to do the same. It's short enough, I'm like maybe 3 feet out, but the elevated basket just makes it tough. Want to save the stroke, so I'm going with a normal putt, and we do cash it. Par on 16, and on to hole 17 now, par 4, 590 feet down the hill. And we're going with a flex forehand with a destroyer again. And this time it slips out just a little bit early, but it gets super lucky through the little gap in the middle trees. And it does crash out a little bit early, put it a little bit too high as well. But we got plenty down there. Should have a look up to the basket for the birdie. And Mitch goes with a forehand, and it doesn't look great, but it flexes out and catches that little group of trees down there. Not a bad shot. And we're left with about 150 feet out. Going with the A3. Can't see the basket from here, but trying to pitch it up, and hopefully it falls next to it. And I thought it was pretty good, but looks like it was pretty similar to our range earlier. Just kept gliding, got all the way down this hill, probably about 70 feet out. Pitch up, almost gave it a run. And we tap in our par. Stay 6 over through 17, and we're on to hole 18 now. Unfortunate after the front 9 having such a good start to go 6 bogeys in a row. But we're on to hole 18 now, 319 feet, going with the range, and we put it on just a little bit of hyzer, and it just holds it the whole way. Luckily, it does get clean through all the trees, and gets about pin high, maybe 30, 35 feet left, so not a bad shot, but would have liked to see it flip up a little bit and get back to the basket. Mitch goes with a forehand again, turns it over, but it does roll a little bit for him. And Mitch comes in from about 100 feet out and skips off the top of the band. That would have been an elite shot, but unfortunately just a little bit high for him. And quite low for me. Didn't even give it close to a chance. Pretty bad effort there, but 6 over with the stretch that we had there. Not a bad score. You can see we started out pretty hot, 2 under through 4. And then we took the double, probably should have pitched up for the bogey there. And then we got it back, and then took another bogey on 7, but not mad at that one. That one plays almost like a par 4. And then we just had the death stretch. Got it back a little bit at the end, but definitely a rough run. 6 over, not a bad score though still. And thanks everybody for watching. I'll be back at you sometime, and bop off.